Hello, beautiful, wonderful. Hello, beautiful, wonderfuls. Beautiful, wonderfuls. Welcome. I was extremely sleepy today, this morning, last night. Um, did go to bed late last night, so this morning was a no. God said no, okay? No, no, no. But I'm feeling this wonderful burst of creativity and energy. So I would love to come on and finish Ezekiel. I really haven't been that motivated to come on and finish just because this is a last part of his vision that has a lot of like technicalities in like the structure of the vision and the literal like structures in the vision. There's some measurements and things like that going on. So reading through it is kind of like, what do I say? There is so much detail involved in this vision, but I would love to share it with you all. This will be our final reading of the book, and this will be one to just kind of meditate on. Like I always say, right, I'm not going to interject too much. I really haven't been. Usually at the tail end, I'll throw in a little summary, right, a little bit of enlightened speaking at the end. But I would love to just, meditate on this and try to see what we, as a collective can garner from this final part and portion of this vision of Ezekiel from God. Okay, so this is last one, like I said. We'll go ahead and start out. This is chapter 20, verse 1. We're going to set the stage a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and just wrap it up all the way to the end, which is just verse 48. Or I'm sorry, I guess chapter 48. How do they do that? What is that? Why am I blanking on what this is? That's a line. Verse. Just, I don't know. Just ignore me for that brain smoosh. I don't. we're gonna start here. Uh, 40. Yeah, it's a chapter, I suppose. Chapter 40. Okay. Excuse me. In the 25th year of our exile, at the beginning of the year, on the 10th month, in the 14th year after the fall of the city. So, just trying to conceptualize actually how much time it's been from the fall, right? From the exile, right? This is the 25th year of the exile, right? Of course, Ezekiel's alive. Perhaps he's a bit older when experiencing this vision, but this just goes to show, how much time and ground we covered in this book alone, right? So, the 25th year of the exile. In visions of God, he took me to the land of Israel, and he set me on a very high mountain, on whose south side were some buildings that looked like a city. He took me there, and I saw a man whose appearance was like bronze. He was standing in the gateway with a linen cord and a measuring rod in his hand. The alcoves for the guards were 1 rod long and 1 rod wide, and the projecting walls between the alcoves were 5 cubits thick, and the threshold of the gate next to the portico facing the temple was 1 rod deep. Then he brought me to the outer court. There I saw some rooms and a pavement that had been constructed all around the court. There were 30 rooms along the pavement. The inner court also had a gate facing south, and he measured from this gate to the outer gate on the south side. It was 100 cubits. Its portico faced the outer court. Palm trees decorated the jambs on either side, and 8 steps led up to it. Then he measured the court. It was a square, 100 cubits long and 100 cubits wide, and the altar was in front of the temple. The side rooms all around the temple were wider at each successive level. The structure surrounding the temple was built in ascending stages, so that the rooms widened as one went upward. A stairway went up from the lowest floor to the top floor through the middle floor. In the space above the outside of the entrance to the inner sanctuary, and on the walls at regular intervals all around the inner and outer sanctuary, in the space above and on the walls. Okay, I might be missing something there, so sorry for interrupting the vision, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, it says it here. It just broke up. Okay, on the walls and all around the inner and outer sanctuary were carved cherubim and palm trees. There was an outer wall paralleled to the rooms and the outer court. It extended in front of the rooms 50 cubits. He measured the north side. It was 500 cubits by a measuring rod. He said, "Son of man, this is the place of my throne and the place for the soles of my feet. This is where I will live among the Israelites forever. The people of Israel will never again defile my holy name, neither they nor their kings, by their prostitution and their funeral offerings for the kings at their death. The upper ledge is also square, 14 cubits long and 14 cubits wide. All around the altar is a gutter of 1 cubit with a rim of a half a cubit. The steps of the altar face east." Then he said to me, "Son of man, this is what the sovereign Lord says. These will be the regulations for the sacrificing burnt offerings and splashing blood against the altar when it is built. At the end of these days, from the 8th day and on, the priests are to present your burnt offerings and fellowship offerings on the altar. Then I will accept you, declares the sovereign Lord. Say to the rebellious Israel, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Enough of all your detestable practices, people of Israel. In addition to all your other detestable practices, you brought foreigners uncircumcised in the heart and flesh into my sanctuary, desecrating my temple while you offered me food, fat, and blood, and you broke my covenant. But the Levitical priests, who are descendants of Zadok, and who guarded my sanctuary when the Israelites went astray from me, are to come near to minister before me. They are to stand up before me to offer sacrifices of fat and blood, declares the sovereign Lord. When they enter the gates of the inner court, they are to wear linen clothes. They must not wear any woolen garment. While ministering at the gates of the inner court or inside the temple, on the day he goes into the inner court of the sanctuary to minister in the sanctuary, he is to offer a sin offering for himself, declares the sovereign Lord. When you allot the land as an inheritance, you are to present the Lord a portion of the land as a sacred district, 25,000 cubits wide. The entire area will be holy. The prince will have the land bordering each side of the area formed by the sacred district and the property of the city. It will extend westward from the west side and eastward from the east side, running lengthwise from the western to the eastern border, parallel to one of the tribal portions. It will be the duty of the prince to provide the burnt offerings, the grain offerings, and the drink offerings at the festivals, the new moons, and the Sabbaths, and all the appointed festivals of Israel. He will provide the sin offerings, the grain offerings, burnt offerings, and fellowship offerings to make atonement for the Israelites. He is to provide as a grain offering 1 ephah with the bull, 1 ephah with the ram, and with the lambs as much as he wants to give, along with a hin of olive oil for each ephah. This is what the sovereign Lord says. If the prince makes a gift from his inheritance to one of his own sons, it will also belong to his descendants. It is to be their property by inheritance. If, however, he makes a gift from his inheritance to one of his servants, the servants may keep it until their year of freedom. Then it will revert to the prince. His inheritance belonged to his sons, and the sons only. It is theirs. The man brought me back to the entrance of the temple, and I saw water coming out from under the threshold of the temple toward the east, for the temple faced east. He asked me, "Son of man, do you see this?" Then he led me back to the bank of the river. When I arrived there, I saw a great number of trees on each side of the river. He said to me, "This water flows toward the eastern region, and it goes into the Araba, where it enters the Dead Sea. When it empties into the sea, the salty water there becomes fresh. Fruit trees of all kinds will grow on both banks of the river. Their leaves will not wither, nor will their fruit fail. Every month they will bear fruit, because the water from the sanctuary flows to them. Their fruit will serve for food and their leaves for healing. This is what the sovereign Lord says. There are the boundaries of the land that you will divide among the 12 tribes of Israel as their inheritance, with 2 portions for Joseph. The boundary will extend from the sea to from the sea to Hazar Anan, along the northern border of Damascus, with the border of Hamath to the north. This will be the northern boundary. Judah will have 1 portion. It will border the territory of Reuben from east to west. The pasture land for the city will be 250 cubits on the north, 250 cubits on the south, 250 cubits on the east, and 250 cubits on the west. Gad will have 1 portion. It will border the territory of Zebulun from east to west. And then I stop here, okay? So, yes, the detail, but just think and sit for a moment how that detail allows our minds to flourish in a way, right? Even though we might not be able to visualize a cubit, right? We don't really know if we can imagine maybe a rod or something like that. Without getting into this nitty gritty, right? Think about how that was able to take you on kind of this vision of the imagination, right? And whether these instructions were carried out to a T when Israel eventually had returned and formed, right, their great city once again. It almost gives us a sense that, like, this is the idea of the new heaven, or the new earth, I should say, right? The new earth, right? How, everybody comes together, each in their tribes. So we all are from, we all descendant, Jewish or not, or we're all descendants, right? We all come together, all of our tribes, right? And we have this utopia, really. It's really utopia, heaven on earth, whatever you want to call it. And it sounds so blissful, right? I just love being able to be taken on that vision along with Ezekiel, right? That was very, very beautiful. So I do enjoy that. I do enjoy reading this. Some questions that might have come up while going into the reading, right? What is this with the sacrifices? Maybe that's just me. It always comes up, like, with the sacrifices, right? What do we do we cook, right? We cook. That's our sacrifice, right? We feed our families, we take care of our families. And that was the food for the Levites who would offer the sacrifices. They would eat the sacrifices, right? So it's food, it's cooking food, it's smelling the food. And, like, what is, even the point of the sacrifice, right? Remember we talked about that word, right? It sounds scary, right? It sounds scary. But that word sacrifice, what is it for us? It's literally a gift. It's a sacrifice, right? Because that's something that's nourishment to us, right? It's nourishment. And to have to give up something that we can, thrive and be healthy on, right? This is our food, right? Our food, having to give that up. Because there's flour, there's grain sacrifices, there's oil sacrifices, meat, right? Having to give some of that up is difficult for us. That's a sacrifice, right? That's a sacrifice right there. So do we do this today? Yes. When we offer our larger portions of food to our families, or we help a friend, it's sacrifice today. Just it looks a little bit differently. Looks a little different, and people will argue too. I think I even made this argument with the crucifixion of Jesus, right? At the time, the crucifixion that kind of did away with all the sacrificing, right? Jesus was the sacrifice. And that's arguable too, because that is kind of where people, I think, up to that point weren't exactly doing what they did in old Israel, but very valid, okay, very valid. So I'll leave you with this, something too, right? The prince, just real quick, the prince is supposed to provide the sustenance. So the ruler of this utopia, right, is supposed to provide all of this sacrificial good, right? Anything to give up and to offer up, that will be provided by the priest, or excuse me, the prince, not the priest, the prince. So continue your festivals, your new moon festivals, right? Keep the holy days, right? The Sabbaths. And yes, that was very beautiful, okay? It was kind of like, I don't really feel like reading this, but it did make me feel comfortable and nice. I'm going to close this window, and we're going to just do a little chat on alignment and what is true alignment. will be part of our like metaphysical talks, right? We'll see. I know I did write something out last year, right? Last year, because I'm feeling bummy and terrible about not being with you, but I did write something out. So we'll be able to read it together and discuss it. This will be on true alignment. So I will get to you on that. But God bless you. Thanks for listening. I know this is, a journey for me as well. The first time fully reading through the Bible in this manner is a journey. So I appreciate you joining me, all who are interested, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.